this weekly COVID-19 update. My name is Dr. Agnes Mahomva, the Chief Coordinator for the National Response to COVID-19 pandemic here in Zimbabwe. Today I'm with Mr. Noble Mahomva on the Sign Language Desk. As of 18 November 2020, Zimbabwe had 8,981 confirmed COVID-19 cases, including 8,184 recoveries, 261 deaths, and a case fatality rate of 2.9%. The highest number of cases has been confirmed in Harare Metropolitan Province with 3,340 cases and 121 deaths, followed by Bulawayo Metropolitan Province with 1,858 cases and 68 deaths. Last weeks, there has been a significant increase in the number of new local cases in Bulawayo Metropolitan, Matabeleland North and Matabeleland South provinces. Of the 730 new cases recorded in the past 30 days, 260 or 36% are from Bulawayo, 99 or 14% from Matabeleland North, and 95 or 13% from Matabeleland South. In other words, over 62% of all reported new cases in the past month are from the Matabeleland region. A total of 26 deaths were reported in the past 30 days. 19 or 73% of these were from Bulawayo Metropolitan Province. The recent increase in new cases and deaths is associated with poor adherence to recommended public health and social measures, including the existing lockdown legislative orders. Many in our communities seem to be under the impression that the country is not under lockdown anymore. This is not correct. Today, I would therefore like to talk a bit more about the existing lockdown orders, since adhering to these orders goes a very long way in preventing COVID-19 transmission, and hence, of course, help us to address the increase in new cases that we are currently experiencing. A total of 18 lockdown legislative orders have been published since the beginning of this pandemic. SI 83 of 2020 is a principal lockdown order published on 28 March 2020. It establishes the national lockdown with effect. It actually established the national lockdown with effect from 30 March 2020. This principal order confined every individual to his or her home and prohibited persons from leaving their homes except temporarily for the purpose of getting basics like food or medical attention, or in order to go to work if employed in essential services as listed in the order. The introduction of several relaxations published in the additional lockdown orders, additional to the principal one, seems to have given the public an impression that there is no lockdown anymore. Once again, this is not correct. Lockdown is very much still in place. Curfew is also still in place from 2000 hours to 0600 hours of the next day. According to the existing lockdown orders, gatherings are still limited to 2 persons, while certain permitted gatherings are limited to 50 persons, such as sports clubs, funerals, and low-risk sports, and of course to 100 persons for churches. In this regard, it should be noted that there is no accommodation or relaxation that has yet been made for other types of gatherings, such as gatherings at stadiums or stadia, public processions, music galas, house parties, etc. Public bars, nightclubs, beer halls, casinos, betting shops, theaters or movie theaters are still not permitted to operate under these orders. Exempted services like mining, industrial operations, formal and informal commercial activities, tourism, low-risk sports are permitted to operate within the hours of 0630 hours and 1830 hours every day, but they're subject to their licensing requirements and are not affected by the prohibition on gatherings unless a limitation has been provided. Non-ZUPCO affiliated passenger transport vehicles and other vehicles that are not authorized by the Ministry of Transport, such as combis, are still prohibited from both the intercity and the intracity business. In summary, the lockdown is very much still in place, even though a number of relaxations have been published. We all need to strictly, and I mean strictly, adhere to these regulations as we did when they were first introduced in March 2020. This will go a very long way in curbing the spread of COVID-19 and once again in reducing those numbers that we're seeing going up. The complacency we are seeing in all our communities, and I must hasten to say not just in communities where we're seeing the numbers going up now, but all our communities, is threatening to derail our progress. We need to remain focused, comply with those measures, stay home unless you need to go out to get basics like food, medical attention, or unless you need to attend to an essential service, you work in an essential service that is clearly listed in the lockdown orders. Avoid crowds. Remember, gatherings are still limited. Social distance at least 1 to 2 meters apart, very important. Wear a face mask. Statutory Instrument 99 of 20 introduced the mandatory wearing of face masks covering the mouth and nose for any person who is permitted to leave his or her home while in any public space. Frequently wash your hands with soap and running water, or frequently sanitize with an alcohol-based sanitizer. Once again, COVID-19 is a very serious disease. Adhering to existing lockdown legislative orders and of course all the other recommended public health and social measures helps curb the spread of this deadly disease. We need once again to remain focused in order to contain this disease. Do therefore tune in to ZBC, the radio and other media platforms for this weekly update. We just have to continue working together, encouraging each other. I thank you.